Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome into today's show. Here's what we're going to be covering. Federal agents in Chicago yesterday arrested a suspected Latin Kings leader accused of offering a cash bounty to capture and kill a senior immigration officer working with the Operation Midway Blitz. And these are the people that the Democrat leaders don't want federal agents trying to detain. Explain that one to me. Also, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order yesterday prohibiting federal immigration agents from using city-owned property for immigration enforcement operations. Things are just really nuts in Chicago. Also on today's show, we have an update on the government shutdown, as there does not appear to be an end in sight. And South Carolina GOP Chairman Drew McKissick joins us to talk about the government shutdown and blue states' defiance of everything Donald Trump.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
We talked yesterday about just what a violent weekend we saw in Chicago. Federal agents have now arrested a suspected Latin Kings leader, 37-year-old Juan Espinoza Martinez. He's accused of putting cash bounties on the head of a federal immigration officer working with the Operation Midway Blitz, which rounded up a lot of illegals in Chicago. Now, he allegedly used Snapchat to offer $2,000 for information and $10,000 to take the officer down. According to federal prosecutors, this wasn't just gang talk. This was a murder-for-hire plot targeting one of our nation's law enforcement officers, someone out there doing their job, protecting our borders and enforcing immigration law, and he's trying to take him out. U.S. Attorney Andrew Boutros called it an attack on the rule of law, and he's absolutely right. When a gang leader puts a price on an officer's head, it's not just one man being threatened. It's a direct challenge to law and order in America. This guy does not need to be in our country. He does not need to be out on the streets. Martinez, described as a ranking member of the Latin Kings, is accused of organizing armed patrols and sending gang members to defend, quote, territory after a police-involved shooting last weekend in Chicago's Brighton Park. Now, again, this guy is controlling an area of Chicago, but yet the officials in Chicago, the mayor of Chicago, the governor of Illinois, doesn't want Donald Trump's help with federal officers. And the messages investigators say this guy sent, listen to this. $2,000 on information when you get him, $10K if you take him down. Think about that. We now have criminal gangs putting bounties on federal officers enforcing immigration law. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said this case shows the Justice Department's renewed focus under President Trump's administration to take back America, taking back our neighborhoods from violent thugs and restoring safety for law-abiding citizens. And it's badly needed. Chicago, listen to this, saw 29 people shot and 4 killed this past weekend, including 2 incidents where suspects rammed the federal vehicles that I told you about during confrontations with agents. They rammed federal vehicles. They had these immigration officers surrounded. And this is the story we talked about yesterday where the Chicago Police Department told their officers to stand down. Do not help the federal officials. Folks, This is what happens when we let gangs flourish and tolerate lawlessness, when we let them control their neighborhoods. It's what happens when sanctuary cities turned a blind eye to criminal illegal immigrants. And their soft on crime policies embolden this type of gang activity. If I can see it, if you can see it, how in the thunder does the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois not see it? But here's the good news. Federal agents didn't blink. Despite the ongoing government shutdown, ICE and DHS are still open for business. They're still on the job. They're still arresting gang members. They're still taking sex offenders off the street. They're still arresting violent criminals every single day, whether they get the support of Chicago or not, whether they get the support of Illinois State Police or not. Boutros made it clear, no federal officer should ever fear for their life for doing their job. And that's exactly right. These men and women wear the badge to protect you and me. And when the cartels and gangs come after them, the full weight of the federal government must come down on them. It needs to be fast. It needs to be harsh. Martinez now faces federal murder for hire charges. If convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison, and that's where people like him belong, in prison, forever. But this story raises a bigger question. Are we doing enough to protect our law enforcement officers, or particularly ICE and immigration officers? Are we cracking down hard enough on gangs like the Latin Kings, MS-13, Tren de Aragua, that are flooding our cities with violence? Because while politicians in Washington argue over shutdowns and spending bills, these agents are on the ground facing real bullets and real threats. And let's make this clear. There's no compromise with criminals who put bounties on our neighborhood heroes. We either back the badge or we lose control of our streets. Meanwhile, now we have that happening. Meanwhile, while the federal agents are risking their lives, taking down violent gang leaders, deporting criminal illegal immigrants, Chicago's mayor is declaring war on the Trump administration. Mayor Brandon Johnson, yesterday afternoon, signed an executive order banning federal immigration agents from using any city-owned property to carry out ICE operations. He's calling them ICE-free zones. Chicago is telling federal law enforcement, you can't use our buildings, you can't stage here, you can't operate from city property. How crazy is that? This is all part of what Johnson's calling his Protecting Chicago initiative, which is really just another way of saying we're going to protect illegal immigrants, not the law-abiding citizens living in fear of gangs. They should run Brandon Johnson out of his own city. I can't imagine people living in Chicago fearing for their lives, fearing for their streets, and he's doing this type of thing. He's just emboldening. He's telling these illegals, hey, do what you want to do, because we got you back. We're not going to let the ICE agents, we're not going to help them. We're not being able to stop them, but we're not going to help them. During his press conference, Johnson went full activist. He accused the Trump administration of waging war on Chicago and even said the right wing wants a rematch of the Civil War. I mean, that's not leadership. That's political theater. He's trying to placate the extreme left in his party to maintain power. This is happening just days after, again, the federal agents over the weekend were pretty much blocked in. They feared for their life because they didn't know if they'd be able to get out or not. And of course, as we just mentioned a minute ago, they arrested this Latin Kings leader, accused of putting $10,000 bounties on federal immigration officers' heads. And he sends this message out, the mayor sends this message out, saying that Chicago will not tolerate ICE agents violating our residents' constitutional rights. What about their constitutional rights to be protected, to be safe? I mean, here's the kicker. Johnson isn't alone. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is now suing the Trump administration to block the deployment of National Guard troops sent to help combat the city's out-of-control crime rate. Pritzker called it Trump's invasion. As you can imagine, the White House fired back, saying Chicago is descending into lawlessness and chaos because, quote, this slob cares more about boosting his anti-Trump creds on X than he does about making his city safe. And it's true. That's a very true statement. The guy cares nothing about the safety of his city. What mayor, what governor attacks a president who is sending in troops to try to help them get control of the crime in their area? I mean, 29 people shot, 4 killed over the weekend, and they don't think they need help? Folks, this is what happens when ideology trumps common sense. Instead of working with law enforcement to restore order, Chicago's leaders are doing everything they can to undermine federal efforts. And guess what? The citizens of Chicago are the ones paying the price. And you and I are too, whether we live there or not. We'll end up paying the price to try to straighten this mess out. President Trump has made it clear. Operation Midway Blitz will continue. The National Guard is being deployed, and federal agents will keep arresting violent criminals, whether City Hall likes it or not, and good for Donald Trump. That's the right attitude. I mean, the bottom line is, this isn't a war on Chicago. This is a fight for the safety of Chicago, for the families, the kids, the police officers, and yes, even the legal immigrants who deserve to live in safe neighborhoods. That's what this is all about. And it's time that the city leaders start picking the right side. And if they don't, I really hope the people of the city of Chicago make a bold statement in the next elections and let them know we want protection. We want to feel safe. We want to be able to walk outside of our homes and our city parks and to our schools and not feel threatened. And if you can't do that for us, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Governor, we're going to have to replace you. Let's be honest, those summer vacations and backyard barbecues added some extra pounds, right? But instead of feeling guilty or falling further behind, it's time to reset, drop the weight, and get back in control. The solution isn't a shot. Real lasting weight loss starts with your mind, not your mouth. At PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team help you uncover the real reasons behind your weight gain so that you can reprogram the way you think about food forever. PhD clients lose up to a third of their body weight without ever taking a drug. I know because I lost 33 pounds with PhD weight loss. Through real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science, your body can become a natural fat-burning machine. Why risk spending thousands on shots that strip away muscle, come with dangerous side effects, and leave most people regaining 60% of the weight within a year? With PhD, you'll activate your body's natural appetite control, burn fat safely, and stay in control. Even if you're already on Ozempic, PhD can help you transition off while still losing weight. Take the first step today. Call 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. All right, I guess we have to spend a few minutes on the government shutdown. I haven't mentioned it yet in today's show. I mean, it's like we're talking about it every day. Yeah, the government is still shut down. And it's not, as far as where we're headed with this, no good news yet. We're now headed into day 7 of the partial shutdown. Senate Democrats just blocked the 5th attempt by Republicans yesterday to pass a stopgap funding bill that would get the government back open. The vote came down 52-42, falling short of the 60 votes needed to move forward, meaning the lights will stay off in Washington for another day. This bill, supported by President Trump, supported by Speaker Mike Johnson, would simply keep the government funded until at current levels until November 21st. This would buy some time to negotiate long-term deals. No gimmicks, no partisan riders. Just as we talked about from day one, it's a clean extension to keep the lights on. But Democrats said no again. Why? Because they're still demanding an extension of Obamacare subsidies that are set to expire at the end of the year. They're still, I guess they've decided they'll die on that hill. The issue holding up your government is Obamacare subsidies, not defense funding, not paychecks for our troops, not veteran services, not more pay for first responders, not even money for roads and bridges, but Obamacare subsidies. Now, to be fair, there were a few Democrats who continued to break ranks. Catherine Cortez Masto, John Fetterman, and independent Angus King. They all voted yes. Otherwise, party line rejection. On the Republican side, Rand Paul voted no, as he's opposed to continuing resolutions altogether. He doesn't believe we even need to have a CR. I tend to agree with him that we should have a budget passed, should have all 12 appropriation bills passed. But that's just not reality right now because they haven't done their work. So before the vote, President Donald Trump told reporters in the Oval Office he's open to negotiating health care. He said, if we made the right deal, I'd make a deal, sure. But he reminded everyone that the problem is billions wasted in subsidies under Obamacare. And he said talks with Democrats are ongoing. Now, I'd love to get your take on this. Are you okay with the government continuing to be shut down and for Republicans to holding out and not bow to the Democrats on their demands for Obamacare subsidies? Do you care about Obamacare subsidies? Would you rather for them to hold out and make this work somehow? Text me, email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Always use promo code Joey when you go to mypillow.com. Be sure and take advantage of the 6-piece towel set that's back in stock. These are great towels, soft, very absorbent. You know I'm a big fan of the MyPillow towels because they are very absorbent. And Mike Lindell has a great deal right now when you use my name. Just throw my name around. Use promo code Joey. This 6-piece towel set is normally $69.98. You're going to get it for $39.98 when you use promo code Joey. So go to mypillow.com right now. Buy a bunch of sets. You give them for Christmas gifts. And take advantage of this great deal. And leave me a message on the MyPillow message line. Later on Truth Social, President Trump clarified what he was saying. He said, I'm happy to work with Democrats on health care, but they need to reopen the government first. Democrats, led by Chucky Schumer, pushed back hard. Schumer said flatly, this isn't true, claiming there are no ongoing negotiations. They're not even talking, according to Chuck Schumer. He said Republicans need to sit down for real to talk about health care, but in the meantime, they're holding out for subsidies. He seems to be digging in. And look, this is Chuck Schumer's shutdown. Bottom line, he's the reason that our government is shut down and we're even having to talk about this. Republicans say that's nonsense, that Democrats are holding the government hostage over a policy debate that could easily happen after the government reopens. But they want no part of that. Senator John Thune said it plainly on the floor of the Senate. Democrats own this. They own every negative effect of the shutdown, he said. And you know what? A new Harvard Caps Harris poll backs that up now. After almost a week of the shutdown, 65% of Americans, including nearly 40% of Democrats, say Democrats should accept a clean CR, even if it doesn't include Obamacare subsidies. Move on and get this done. Get the government back open. Stop some of the dramatics. Only 35% said to hold out. So the people are saying, open the government first, debate later. But the Senate Democrats are standing firm, demanding changes that could add $1.5 trillion in new spending over the next decade. Again, mainly to roll back Trump's reforms to Medicaid and Obamacare. Meanwhile, thousands of federal workers remain furloughed, troops and Border Patrol agents are missing paychecks, and critical services are being scaled back. And I got a feeling we're going to have some mass layoffs here pretty soon of federal workers. And guess what? That's probably not a bad thing. So here's the question for you. I'd love to get your feedback. Text me, email me, joeyhudson.com. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY. Should health care subsidy for Obamacare and possibly benefits for illegal immigrants, because that's part of it, really be the reason we shut down the government? Or is this just some partisan brinksmanship by Chucky Schumer and his colleagues? Let me hear from you. Tell me what you think on this. Texter, hey, Joey, Jennifer here. We watch this hate-filled political violence worsen by the day. Now we hear the horrifying comments of a Virginia Democrat Attorney General candidate, Jay Jones, and fellow Virginia Democrats don't even try to kick him out of the race. Some American city streets are exploding out of control, and radical left politicians name call and lie about their opponents to the point of inciting death. At the same time, we thankfully have a powerful pro-America administration in the White House, and many thousands of American youth are pursuing God. That's a divide like we've never seen before. What do you think we need to do to fix it? Well, that's a big question there, Jennifer. Look, Trump is on the right path here. I think we stand behind Donald Trump, and he will get this fixed one way or the other. Faye says, Joey, after much thought, we might be better off to deport the evil Democrats and keep the illegals. Interesting concept there, Faye. She says the illegals might be more dedicated. We can start in California and work our way across the country. Thanks, Joey, for your dedication to telling us the truth. Thank you, Faye. Appreciate you listening. Texter says the Bible also says, he who does not work does not eat. And Charlie Kirk often talked about earning things. I'm tired of people, illegals, lazy people, getting things for free. Is just not right. Texter Dan from Greenville. The issue with the hospitals is that they are required to take anybody in, especially at the emergency room, and that could probably be illegal aliens. Yeah, you're right, Dan. Therefore, they have to take a man and bear the cost. So if the federal government, which I don't think they should pay it through the Medicaid, whatever amount for them or Medicare, the hospital has to bear the cost. And if they have to bear the cost, they're going to push the cost off to those that can pay, which would include insurance companies or people that pay by cash. So therefore, the rule is they should get away with where hospitals should not take in illegal aliens, and therefore that would solve the problem. It's a complicated problem, Dan. I get it. Because, and that's part of, that's how the Democrats, they keep saying, well, no illegals can apply for Obamacare, and Chuck Schumer's right, they can't. But illegals are getting care because they are showing up at local emergency rooms, and the hospitals are getting reimbursed by Medicaid. So it's the same thing. We're still paying. On the MyPillow message line, Donnie from Anderson had this to say.
Hey, Joey, my name is Donnie, live in South Carolina, Anderson County. I just want to let you know you're doing a great job. I agree with I think lieutenant governor or governor. I'm not sure. Hopefully I didn't misinterpret it wrong. But I agree with her that the Democrats are playing a card game that they're going to lose. They are bluffing. They're holding the cards, not showing any of them when it comes to this shutdown. It's their fault, and they're far wrong, and I think that they will fold eventually, sooner or later. And if the Republicans keep on showing everything the Democrats are doing, then that's going to be less votes for the Democrat during the midterm election. This is their own fault. All the time, every time, they keep doing stupid crap, and it's going to come back and bite them in their behind. So I would love to talk to you more. Also, I like to talk about the treasonous ways accepting bribes from big pharma, big corporations, billion-dollar companies. Once again, my name is Donnie, and I'm in Anderson County, South Carolina. Love your show. First-time caller. Hopefully I get on the show eventually, and keep doing what you're doing, brother. God bless America, and let's keep the fight going on. God bless the 45th and 47th President, Donald J. Trump. Fight, fight, fight.
Thank you, Donnie. Your message on the MyPillow message line is welcome, too. 864-477-JOEY. 864-477-5639. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. I was a moderator last night at a forum for the candidates for the special election in South Carolina House District 21. It was over at Pelham Fire Department, which is not far from my home. What a great group of people there on a rainy Monday night. And special thanks to the four candidates, Reggie Batson, Diane Mitchell, Steve Nail, and Jack Stott. The forum was sponsored by the Greenville Patriot Caucus of Young Greenville. And if you live in that district, in House District 21, this is a special election to fill the seat that was vacated by Representative Bobby Cox when he resigned to run for the state Senate. There's a special election in the state Senate district because Senator Roger Nutt had to retire for health reasons. Also, and speaking of that Senate district, we have a forum coming up for that as well in a couple of weeks, October 16th at the Duncan Event Center. My colleague Bill Frady and I will be moderating that debate. One of the questions, though, that came up last night, it was a great evening, good crowd. I mean, there was a great crowd there at the fire department, and again, just a special thanks to the to Kelly and the team with Greenville Patriot Caucus. But one of the questions, though, that I ask is, would they support the legalization of marijuana in South Carolina? This question comes up in every legislative session, and unfortunately, it gets a few more votes, it seems like, every year. There's a state senator, Tom Davis, from the Beaufort area, the coastal area of South Carolina, who always introduces a bill that would legalize medical marijuana pretty much. But there's others who are lobbying. I mean, the marijuana lobby has spent a lot of money in South Carolina because they don't want just medical marijuana. They want recreational marijuana too. But all four candidates in last night's forum, when I asked the question, said they absolutely would not support legalization of marijuana. Now, people try to make the argument that marijuana never hurts anyone. And every time I talk about marijuana, I get pushback from some of you. I get text, I get emails, I get messages, phone calls of people saying, Joey, why are you so hard on marijuana? It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't hurt you to smoke some marijuana. But tell that to someone who's in an addiction recovery program who got there because they started smoking weed at a young age. A lot of people frame it as a matter of freedom or say it's no worse than alcohol. But here's a hard truth that we just can't ignore. Legalizing marijuana means more impaired drivers on our roads, more impaired people working at their place of employment, some operating big machinery. And that's already proving deadly, the driving on the roads, in states that went down the road before us. A new study from Wright State University, just published in the Journal of the American College of Surgeons, found that more than 40% of victims in fatal car crashes over the past 6 years had elevated levels of THC. That's the chemical in marijuana that makes you high. Think about that. 4 out of 10 deadly crashes involved marijuana. THC slows your reaction time. It clouds your judgment. It dulls your coordination the same way alcohol does, and sometimes worse. And those few seconds of delay can be the difference between a close call and a fatal crash. In the study, the average THC level among the victims was 30.7 nanograms per milliliter. That's 6 times the legal limit in states like Colorado and Washington. And here's the thing you need to understand. These weren't folks who smoked last week. These levels show recent use, people who got high and then got behind the wheel. Now remember, Ohio just legalized marijuana. And guess what? These THC levels didn't drop. They stayed high. Legalization didn't make things safer. It made driving stoned normal. Dr. Laura Markley from Akron Children's Hospital said it pretty plainly. She said even amounts under the legal level may not be safe. Any amount of THC can impair driving. And today's marijuana isn't what it used to be back in the 1970s, I'm told. It's far more potent. The higher lasts longer, and the impairment is more severe. Folks, this is why South Carolina needs to think twice before going down the path of states like Colorado or California. This is one reason of a number of reasons. It hasn't turned out exactly like Colorado thought it would. We already fight distracted driving. We just had Governor McMaster just signed in a distracted driver law, which says now you can't have your cell phone in your hand when you're driving. Has to be hands-free, because distracted driving of any type can cost your life, or a family member can cost them their life. Texting about while driving it is very similar to having some type of impairment. I mean, imagine adding stone drivers to people texting. You can't police it the same way, though. There's no roadside THC breathalyzer that works like there is an alcohol breathalyzer. So how do we keep our roads safe? How do you prove impairment? It's a nightmare for law enforcement. That's why law enforcement always makes it very clear to the legislature that they're very much opposed to any type of legalized marijuana in the Palmetto State. Here's another reality. Legalization brings pressure on our healthcare system. Higher addiction rates, and yes, more deaths behind the wheel. Now, who would support such a measure? Who would support legalizing marijuana, knowing that, yes, we're going to see deaths increase? Maybe not directly because they smoked a drug and the drug didn't kill them indirectly, but indirectly they got behind a wheel and they were killed in an automobile accident, or worse yet, they killed a family because they were so stupid that they got behind the wheel after they'd smoked. South Carolina's strength has always been our common sense, I think. We don't have to follow the crowd just because it's trendy. And I got a feeling in the next few years, we're going to see some of the states who have legalized marijuana probably go back and make it illegal again. Because, again, none of it has worked out like the marijuana lobby convinced the lawmakers in those states said it would. Freedom's a good thing. I'm all about freedom. But freedom must come with responsibility and respect for other people's lives. I mean, let's face it, and I think you will agree with me, if a policy leads to more impaired drivers, thus more funerals, that's not really progress, is it? So before lawmakers in Columbia consider recreational marijuana or medical marijuana, they need to ask, are we ready to trade more lives for more tax dollars? Because that's how the marijuana lobby always sells this, is the taxes on selling. They get the state legislators all excited about all the revenue that's going to come in from the taxes on legalizing marijuana. Who's going to pay for all of the deaths that occur because of it? The additional traffic fatalities that are caused by this. Am I off base here? Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. On our guest line, chairman of the South Carolina Republican Party, Drew McKissick. Are we supposed to even be talking today? I mean, in the middle of a shutdown, is everything else kind of going as usual?
Politics is not shut down. Government is might be partially shut down, but life is not shut down. The economy is not shut down. I mean, it's amazing how much stuff can continue to go whenever they say the government shut down and the world's going to come to an end. Life does go on.
Yep, it does. There's the rumor going around that Chuck Schumer didn't want the shutdown because he's afraid people would get accustomed to not having government open.
Well, it's whenever they get into that stuff of defining, what's actually necessary and what's not necessary, it kind of exposes what's really not necessary.
Yes.
Then you begin to wonder, why are we paying a couple $1 trillion for it?
Yeah.
How many government employees does it take to do what's necessary? That's a good question. I don't know if we know the answer to that, but I think the director of OMB, Russ Vogt, would like to maybe find the answer to that question and do some reductions in force in the middle of this shutdown as we go forward, and maybe trim a lot of fat off the government payroll. The Democrats have kind of they've gotten what they said they wanted here now, and it may turn out to be exactly what they didn't want because, of course, when there's no budget, there's no legal means to spend money, and in many ways for certain government employees, there's no classification of who can and can't be fired. Essentially, all of that is wrapped up in the annual budget law.
Yeah.
And that gives whoever's president a whole lot of latitude in terms of just, wholesale chopping a lot of stuff off of the government payroll. And, I'm looking forward. I know he's made some big slashes in terms of billions of dollars that were designated for, sort of Green New Deal stuff. Lots of green transportation money going to a lot of blue states has been eliminated. I'm looking forward to seeing some big pieces of some departments eliminated here this week as this thing goes on.
Maybe this would be a good time to eliminate Department of Education.
There you go. There you go. Just give everybody a pink slip. You can go home. Thank you for your service.
Yep. South Carolina GOP Chairman Drew McKissick is our guest today. Meanwhile, we've got the president trying to negotiate this ceasefire, this end of the war with Hamas. So the question is, does Hamas take the deal, you think?
You know, at the end of the day, I don't think so. It would surprise me if they did. I mean, these guys are dead enders. I mean, they are. I mean, their very name means violence in Arabic. Yeah. And their whole reason for existence is eliminating Israel's existence. Why would they give in a deal which would essentially hamstring them from being able to potentially do, what they swore to do? It'll surprise me if they do, but, I've been surprised before. But for as long as that's been going on in that part of the world, it may be some sort of a deal where they end up, trying to sneak out and stay armed elsewhere. I don't know, but I know Egypt doesn't want them and Jordan doesn't want them because, which is interesting, by the way. You have the two big Arab states right next door to Israel, Jordan and Egypt. Neither of which want any of the Palestinians in their country. Now, what does that tell you that they know about those folks?
Exactly. Well, it's going to be interesting to watch as the deadline was yesterday at 6, and I understand they're still working on that. What about the craziness in Chicago and Portland? I mean, Chicago, you literally had federal agents surrounded by a bunch of thugs, and the Chicago Police Department would not assist. I mean, they were told to stand down. Who does that, Drew McKissick?
Completely out of touch mayors and governors in blue states who just legitimately are totally out of touch with their population. I mean, look, we went through an entire election cycle here where the top 3 issues in the country in every poll over the course of this cycle, maybe different order at different times of the month and so forth, but the top 3 issues were the economy, crime, and immigration, and things related to those 3 issues. That was it. That was the top, and has been consistently. And those are issues, by the way, where Republicans in even Reuters' most recent poll, which came out I think a week ago, when it comes to crime, people trust Republicans more than Democrats by 20 points. Immigration, Republicans by 18 points. The economy, Republicans by 10 points. Republicans own those issues right now. And if Democrats want to keep playing, games on issues that the American people care about, in this case, you're talking about, immigration, ICE, and immigration enforcement, then they're playing with their own future.
Yeah. I mean, when you have the presidents of the National Fraternal Order of Police and the president of the Illinois State Fraternal Order of Police saying that this was a violation of your oath, I mean, you have an oath that you're going to protect, and you're going to defend, and you're going to defend peace, and you have some of your fellow officers who need help, and you just ignore them. I mean, I don't get that at all. Of course, I also don't understand how you have a city council member in Portland, Oregon, releasing a video. It's coaching people on how to avoid ICE officers and detention.
I mean, how to get away with breaking the law in the jurisdiction that I supposedly represent. That's amazing. I mean, look, this is the same political party that has a candidate for attorney general in the state of Virginia who's openly fantasizing about assassinating a Republican Speaker of the House in that state a little over a year ago, and having his children killed in front of their mother. And this is they're a nominee for attorney general, the chief law enforcement officer for that state. I mean, just the state that party has devolved into is just, quite frankly, it's just amazing. And, you've got people that represent that party from the top to the bottom that basically the only thing they have in common is basically they're a collection of grievance groups. And they have grievance with the country, grievance with our history, grievance with, other people that they want stuff from, or who won't use their pronouns, or, just go down the list of absurdities. But this is what they have representing them on the ballot now. You know, people who do, as you said, who help people break the law, to people fantasizing about having their opposition assassinated. It's amazing.
Yep, and they wonder why the American people are turning away from them. So.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Drew McKissick, chairman of the South Carolina Republican Party. Is always a pleasure. Have a good one.
You too. Now, take care. Thank you.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.